Are we on? Okay. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the work session of Las Cruces City Council. Today is Monday, October 11th, 2021. It's approximately 1 p.m. If you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Okay, thank you. So we have 4 items on the agenda, and Councilor Bencomo asked if we could have a acknowledgement this morning before we begin. So Councilor Bencomo, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Mayor. Thank you, and to our city clerk for making this happen today. I want to quickly introduce Diego Medina, member of the Piro Manzotiwa Pueblo, who's going to give us a land acknowledgement today in honor of state and federally recognized Indigenous Peoples Day.
Diego, if you're welcome to either, whichever one, either this one or this one, you can speak in. Okay. Just need you to state your name, please, even though we... I think it's off. Let's if someone will give us about 2 seconds, and then they'll turn the microphone on. No, because it's got to be picked up on the recorder. That's... You want to? I saw someone go inside there. You want to use that Mr. Microphone there that's on the? Okay.
Hello. There we go. All right. Took a minute, as it always does. Thank you so much, Mayor and Council, for inviting me to be here today on Indigenous Peoples Day.
Excuse me, Diego, can you state your name, please?
Yes. My name is Diego Medina. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm a member of the Piro Manzotiwa tribe, and I represent, the original people of Las Cruces, New Mexico. And so I'm happy to be here to give this acknowledgement and to tell a little bit about our history and our presence here and the importance of acknowledging, the founders of our city and what that means for our cultural ethos and who we are as people, as a community. So, Hoya Atsihem Kuitatak Nafoya Yapoyawe. I'm grateful to be up here speaking Piro words here in City Hall. I'm not sure if that's ever been done before, but it's happening now, so thank you all. So, we're in a pretty significant place. A couple weeks back, we found out about the findings at, White Sands, how significant that was and how impactful that was, that there's been presence here for close to 25,000 years. And so it's also a little bit ironic that here in, less than an hour away from Las Cruces, that finding was made public, and yet, our communities here have the least recognition, and our community has been, the last to be recognized federally. And so it's important to put that into perspective and think about how long our ancestors have been in the Mesilla Valley and this greater area around the Sierra de los Mansos and Paso del Norte, and how important it is moving forward to acknowledge that history. So here in the Mesilla Valley, the Turtle River, of course, once snaked completely through before it was channeled and straightened and the dam was built. And it was a very lush valley where so many different communities built homesteads and rancherias and pueblos. And it's a history that's not often talked about. So our Manso ancestors, were the first community here in this area prior to the Pueblo Revolt, who made this area their home and stewarded it and cared for it spiritually, ecologically, through their kinship practices and cultural practices. And then come the Pueblo Revolt in 1680, we have the aftermath of that, which led to a mass exodus of Piro and Tiwa people from northern and central New Mexico, coming down to the Mesilla Valley and Paso del Norte area. And many Pueblo communities were established, leading to the ultimately Paso del Norte being, the most indigenous place in this part of the world outside of Mexico City. And we had our Socorro, Senacu, Isleta Pueblos down there. We had Guadalupe Pueblo and so many other communities that established the original framework for what would become the culture and the values of our area down here. And, moving into the present, after centuries of living in the pueblos of Paso del Norte, our tribal members were the first to petition for land in the original town site of Las Cruces in the late 1830s and early 1840s. And so our tribal families established what they call the Mesquite Historic District, but I don't think our ancestors referred to it as a historic district. It was, it was the barrio the barrio de los Indios that all of our families lived in and carried on our cultural practices and kinship connections in that area for what would become the city of Las Cruces. So we established the city of Las Cruces and invited in all of our community members to participate in taking care of this land with us. And so it's important to acknowledge the historical changes that have taken place over time. And those historical changes have led to a lot of erasure and a lot of displacement of our tribal people. Despite all that, the Piro people, the Tiwa people, the Manso people are all still here with us, in us, as us, carrying on the cultural practices and the ancestral traditions that were, given to us by the great ancestors. And so I'm thankful to say that here in the city of Las Cruces, we acknowledge the Piro Manso Tiwa people as being the original people of this land. We acknowledge that our Manso ancestors were the first people here in this valley. And we acknowledge all of the ancestors that came before us, all the way back to those footsteps in White Sands and probably before that. And we've been here this entire time, praying for the land, taking care of it, singing songs for the land, and caring for our community, and welcoming all of you in to be part of our community as well. So I'd like to close this by saying that, Las Cruces is a city proudly shared by so many diverse people who come from all over the world, and we're all here to be stewards of this place. And so it's important to recognize that the Piro Manso Tiwa tribe, Pueblo San Juan de Guadalupe, we're here. We're, the original people of this land that are happy to share it with you all. And we ask that we continue to, acknowledge our history and the importance of our presence here and how we're going to continue to be here caring for this land. And we'd like to, thank the city for acknowledging us here and acknowledging that we're the original peoples of this land. So, well, yeah.
Diego, thank you very much for that. I know I saw a presentation that you gave a while back, and you answered a lot of questions that I've often wondered, and it was incredible. So again, thank you, and thank you, Councilor Bencomo, for the suggestion and making it happen. So that's great. Okay, so now we move on. We have Pets of the Week, and I believe Clint Thacker, are you here? Oh, you're gonna, okay, good.
Thank you, Mayor. Clint is out today, so.
Well, looks like we found a permanent replacement.
Well, thank you, Mayor and Council. For the record, I am Tessa Beta-Stuvie, and I'll be giving our Pets of the Week. Right here, we have Agate. She's a one-year-old female. About her, my name implies I am a precious torty gem. I might sometimes be a little skittish at first, but after a little introduction, I'm very quickly buzzing my tail and asking you for pets. I'll be the perfect, affectionate companion. And our dog of the week is Dusty. Dusty is 2 years old. I'm a very friendly, super playful gal. I can be best friends with all types of humans, but I play a little too rough with cats and small dogs, so dogs my size are preferred types of animal friends. There's going to be an event this Saturday the 16th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at PetSmart. That's located at 22 East Loman Avenue. And the hours of operation for the Animal Service Center is Monday through Friday, noon to 6 p.m., and Saturday and Sunday, noon to 5 p.m. Thank you.
All right, great job.
Getting the hang of this.
Next, we have our Jobs of the Week. Looks like Elizabeth Teeters will be giving that presentation. So thanks, Elizabeth.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. My name is Elizabeth Teeters, and I am filling in for a job to tell you guys the Jobs of the Week. First off, the City of Las Cruces has a school crossing guard supervisor position that closes on October 19th. ABC Paint and Body has an auto body repair technician that closes on November 4th. Bumblebee Learning Center has a system administrator that closes on October 31st. The Chirocom International has 10 positions that are Spanish interpreters that closes on 10/29. And then the Discovery Child Development has an after-school teacher and baby attendant that closes on November 4th. This Wednesday and Thursday from 9 to 11 a.m. at the Las Cruces Workforce Center is an employer recruitment event. And here is the contact information for New Mexico Workforce Connections.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
I'd
Councilor.
like to make a comment.
Sure,
Can you
please.
go back to page 1? So there's a sing-on bonus of $1,000.
Yes, for the Spanish interpreters.
They have to sing?
Oh, Mayor, Councilor
that a
Flores,
typo?
it's a sign-on,
okay.
yes.
Jeez, it's making it more difficult. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, so that's the contact information. Anything else?
No.
Okay, great. Thank you, Elizabeth. Good job. Okay, so the one item on the agenda is going to be the Certified Local Government Program. And looks like Mr. Larry Nichols, Director of Community Development, is going to start it off or maybe make the presentation.
Yes. Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, City Manager. I'm Larry Nichols, Community Development Director. We have this afternoon a presentation with the Certified Local Government Program. It was with the State Historic Office. It encourages preservation of cultural resources through various historic best practices of preservation. The City of Las Cruces currently meets the eligibility requirements for the Certified Local Government status. And the benefits of that status include technical assistance, participation in nominating of properties for the National Register of Historical Places, and access to grants through the Historic Preservation Fund. With this introduction, I will yield the floor to Dr. Troy Ainsworth for the presentation to Council. See if I can hit F5 here. Like, that's not.
Thanks, Larry.
You got it? Yeah.
I think that's where you do
I'm not
F3, is that
identifying
what,
the
right, Councilor?
slide presentation. Thank you, Dr. Reed.
F5, F5?
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of City Council, City Manager, and all guests who are present today. Thank you, Director Nichols, for the introduction. As mentioned, we're going to go over a Certified Local Government Program. We have a dozen slides to look at. And very briefly, if you're unfamiliar with the Certified Local Government Program, basically what a CLG is a municipal political entity that engages in historic preservation efforts, and its program has been certified by the state and by the Department of the Interior. It dates back to 1966 with the introduction of the National Historic Preservation Act itself, which expanded federal involvement in nationwide preservation activity and was amended 14 years later in order to very much strengthen the efforts by localizing efforts and providing a funding structure in order to go beyond encouragement to actual funding for undertakings of a preservation nature. So a town, a village, a tribal entity, a county, or a city in the state, in any of the states or territories are eligible to become a certified local government if they meet 5 different criteria. Let's take inventory of what the city of Las Cruces is currently doing. First, does the city have a preservation ordinance that it enforces? And the answer, of course, is yes, dating back very recently to December of 2019, when the municipal code was amended to include historic preservation districts. That's Section 40 of the municipal code. Furthermore, the city also has established a qualified and adequate historic preservation review commission. Those are 2 of the first elements that are necessary. But you also must maintain a system to inventory and survey eligible and designated historic properties. Our GIS staff in community development already is undertaking that responsibility. Public participation must be provided for, and our Historic Preservation Commission meetings are open to the public. And as you can see behind us today, some of the folks, and I would like for those who are here specifically for this item, if you would please acknowledge by raising your hand. A few folks from the commission and from the community are present today in support. Public participation is an extremely important part of the effectiveness of the overall program. Currently, the city of Las Cruces does not meet the 5th requirement, and for one reason only: it's not applied to be a part of this program. That's the only reason. But to satisfactorily perform these responsibilities is a task that staff is prepared to do. 5 responsibilities only, as we have just gone through, and it summarizes with an annual report to the State of New Mexico's Historic Preservation Division on that year's preservation activities. So it's really a minimal amount of effort for a maximum amount of return. The benefits are of key importance here. There are primarily 3 of them. Technical assistance provided to staff and commission members from the State Historic Preservation Office in order to be more efficient and more effective with preservation activities. Also, involving the community in the nomination process for properties that would be eligible for listing on the National Register of Historic Places. And lastly, and this is a crucial point, access to funds through certified local government grants that are limited only to designated historic or certified local governments within the state of New Mexico. We have a nice round number which demonstrates what it would cost to apply to participate as a certified local government and what it would cost on an annual basis. Those 2 numbers equal one another, as you can see. In 1977, federal government authorized the establishment of the National Historic Preservation Fund by allocating $150 million per year from offshore petroleum extraction and not taxpayer dollars in order to have a sum of money to be divvied up to all 50 states and territories for historic preservation work. Over the last 2 years, the state of New Mexico, and you'll see this in a subsequent slide, has received its allocation in 2020. It was in excess of $881,000. The way the CLG program is structured, from that total amount, 10% is set aside specifically for certified local governments to apply for grants throughout that year. So more than $88,000 was available to certified local governments here in New Mexico in 2020. Only CLGs can apply for those funds, not every community, town, county, tribal government. So it's very small. And as you can see, there are only 9 certified local governments in New Mexico. the city of Albuquerque, Columbus, counties of Lincoln and Los Alamos, Deming, Las Vegas, Santa Clara, Taos, and Santa Fe. These funds are dedicated exclusively for certified local government. So if you are a grant writer, what this means is rather than having almost an unlimited pool of applicants for a CLG grant, it would be limited only to the 9 or perhaps 10 CLGs statewide. An application packet is a very modest but important document containing these 7 different items. 2 of the items are required to be signed by the chief elected official, county manager, mayor, tribal governor, whatever the elected official title is. A list of the commissioners, a copy of the ordinance, a copy of a preservation plan, if applicable, resumes of staff, and a list and a map of designated historic properties and districts. And that is a complete packet to send to the office up in Santa Fe. Despite the public health condition, in 2021, the state office received in excess of $930,000 from the United States Congress. Out of that money, out of the $93,000 available to CLGs, the village of Santa Clara received 2 grants in the total amount of $60,000. Santa Fe, a $25,000 grant, and our neighbor in Columbus, New Mexico, a $7,500 grant for designing a web page. At the present, to reiterate, the city of Las Cruces is already eligible on 4 of the 5 criteria. The one thing is an application for a certified local government would permit the application for grants otherwise denied to the community. The benefits are many, the cost is non-existent, and for the next steps, Community Development Department staff and the Historic Preservation Commission will continue ongoing preservation efforts. Staff is prepared to draft a letter in support of the application. And lastly, staff is prepared to accept the responsibilities of maintaining its status as a CLG in the state of New Mexico by promoting our city through an annual report and being eligible to apply for CLG grant monies. So with this information and with these comments, this concludes this work session presentation. Thank you.
So Dr. Ainsworth, will you take questions from council?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, Councilor Flores?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Dr. Ainsworth. Would you please go back to the page where you listed the 5 qualifications? Yeah, and you said that Las Cruces already has A, B, C, D, but doesn't have E, which is perform the tasks. So what are those tasks? Why haven't they been performed, or what qualifies performing a task?
Yes, Councilor Flores, the only reason the city of Las Cruces does not meet all 5, point E here requires us to be a certified local government. That's all it is.
Well, that's a catch-22. Right?
It is a catch-22, but I'm not sure why, but it maintains eligibility because you can maintain or lose certified local government status. For example, if you do not provide annual reporting, if you misuse federal monies, if you void your historic preservation ordinance. So in other words, if a community is certified into this program It's not in perpetuity. It
Oh.
can be removed.
Oh, I see.
So contingent upon playing by the rules, eligibility is maintained.
Okay, so if an application was submitted with a cover letter from the mayor, in our case, our municipality, the highest elected official is the mayor, then that would be processed by the state of New Mexico or the federal government?
Councilor Flores, by both. The recommendation would be made to approve in Santa Fe, and that recommendation would be forwarded to the Department of the Interior, who would unquestionably approve it unless there was some untoward reason not to.
And then how is that money allocated, that 884,000 plus that was allocated? There are about 10 entities in the state of New Mexico, so there was about an $80,000 allocation to each. What determined the allocation? Was just an even split?
It's an open grant application, Commissioner Flores. It requires any of the CLGs to actually apply. So in speaking with Carla McWilliams, who is the manager of this program in Santa Fe, she has made it clear that not every community applies each year, and so they may only have a couple of applications. So therefore, depending on which applications are submitted, will depend on how many funds are going to be used. What is the need? Those funds are available. Does everyone take advantage of them who can? And it doesn't happen every year.
So does the DOI set some certain, like 884,000 every year, or does that change? And then if there's only 2 municipalities or 2 municipal entities applying, does that mean that if there was 884, then each one would get 400,000 plus? Or how does that work? Because I'm not in any way, I think it's wonderful. I think it's great if we would do it. But what is the certainty of receiving those grants? And then how is it determined? I mean, how much is allocated?
Okay, to your first question, Councilor Flores, the funding value per year will fluctuate. So in the very small example, in 2020, in excess of $881,000. In the current calendar year, in excess of $930,000. What next year's funding will be is unknown at this time. However, from the total amount the state of New Mexico receives, and this is for their operating budget, so this $930,000 for this year, 10% of that total sum is allocated for certified local government exclusively. So depending on the number of grant applications that are submitted and received by the state, and whatever amount that they dedicate and award for various opportunities, the state of New Mexico wants those funds to be used in their entirety. They don't want to leave leftover money. So the way that, of course, if the village of Santa Clara is asking for 2 grants for $60,000, and as you can see, Santa Fe and Columbus, these were the only 3 who applied in 2021. I feel very confident that if the city of Las Cruces were a certified local government, that we have a number of eligible projects to apply for on a very short order. And I do feel confident that adding this city to the certified local government list, I believe we would have a very strong chance with strong applications to be awarded funds.
Okay, so the village of Santa Clara, for example, received a total of $60,000. Was that all they applied for? I'm just trying to gauge how much we would ask for. Is sky's the limit? And then would it be parceled out, or would they hold back? I mean, what is the state of New Mexico doing with the remaining funds that were allocated?
They can't, Commissioner Flores, the state can reprogram that money for other CLG programs. They can do that, but they can't reprogram it just for any of their regular business activities, if that makes sense.
Well, yes and no. Where does that money go and who can access it? Do other municipalities then, does that roll over into the 2022 allocation?
Actually, it does. Those funds are available for the state to use, but only for certified local governments.
Right, okay.
Okay.
So if that was all that was used in 2021, because we're coming pretty close to the end of the year, there's a big pot sitting there. There's close to $70,000. I mean, close to 900,000. Over 800,000.
Councilor Flores, keep in mind that the total amount received for the state for all of their programs is $930,362 this year. From that amount, 10% is for the certified local governments to apply for grant monies. So that would be $93,000.
Oh, I see. So what does the state do with the rest of the money?
Okay, that's for facilities, infrastructure, staff, equipment, public outreach, whatever programs, all their other programs that they have.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
I see. Okay, great. Thank you, Dr.
I apologize if that was not clear.
No, it's clear now.
Okay,
Thank you very much, Dr. Ainsworth. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Councilor Vasquez?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Dr. Ainsworth, for this presentation. Just a question here regarding the selection of projects. You mentioned there'd be several projects the city could apply for. Should we be eligible to apply for them with this designation? Who would decide what projects the city would prioritize for funding?
Good afternoon, Councilor Vasquez. That's a very good question. With input from staff, with input from the Historic Preservation Commission, from the public, from what needs does the city, the community have, it would be easy to put together a list of eligible projects. If I may, they can be bricks and mortar. Think about city-owned buildings such as the Rio Grande Theater or the Brannigan Memorial, the former Brannigan Memorial Library, the Frank Papin Center in Mesilla Park, or the Women's Improvement Association building here on the east side of Pioneer Park. Walking tours would be an eligible type of program. An educational program for outreach to members of the Home Builders Association or local realtors about the responsibilities of listing a home in the Mesquite Historic District or the Barrios Indios. Alameda Depot, Mesilla Park. The whole purpose would be public outreach, bricks and mortar, education, and in my view, what would be crucial is to have a pool of proposals ready to go each year to apply, because we could make multiple applications depending upon funding. We could certainly do that. The Village of Santa Clara put in 2 separate proposals and both were awarded. So the array of possibilities is wide, and the input is community-driven, staff-driven, the commission, vested parties who have an interest in what we can do to improve Las Cruces.
Thank you so much. And I'm just trying to think of the process here in terms of the actual decision makers on this. So you initiate a public input process after the designation is successful. And then you identify properties and you would ask folks for comments on those properties, or would you ask the community to also submit their own potential projects for funding?
Councilor Vasquez, that is a good approach, and we haven't worked out on all that detail. However, it is my opinion that a public outreach input is a lot more effective than just a simple staff approach to identify. I think it's important to know what the community is interested in and begin from that point in prioritizing projects. So it's not fully developed as an approach yet, but certainly we're amenable to codify it and figure it out.
Thank you, and I think that's important, Dr. Aintor, thank you. And so the designation is approved by the New Mexico Historic Preservation Division, is that correct? That's the entity that would approve the application?
That is correct, yes, sir.
Okay. And then ultimately, the applications for projects for grants on any given grant cycle, those would be made through by staff without prior approval by council. Is that right?
The proposals would be prepared, and based upon what do we want to do, and then we put together a proposal, mail it to the SHPO's office in Santa Fe, and it is a competitive review process. But again, it would be only limited to the 9 or 10 certified local governments in the state. Those are the only ones who can apply for these funds.
Sure, thank you. Again, just trying to get a better understanding of the process and who ultimately has the decision-making power in terms of prioritizing the projects to apply for with the limited funds. And it sounds like staff would have the authority to submit grants based on the process that takes place for the public input and other recommendations from perhaps members of the community. Is that right?
Yes, Councilor Vasquez, that would be a correct assessment.
Okay, thank you. Well, no, I fully support this. I don't see why we shouldn't do this. It's another avenue for us to get funding in the door for historic preservation programs. I definitely would just recommend that we do develop a system through which there is equitable decision-making and prioritizing of projects with a particular focus on the community input. Oftentimes, we have different projects that we select and then ask for support for, but it'd be great to also solicit the input of the community before those projects are even put on a list for them to choose from. So I think that's an important part of this process moving forward. And thank you for spearheading this. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Bencomo.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Dr. Ainsworth. I really appreciate your presentation. I just have a couple of follow-up questions. So has the city of Las Cruces taken advantage of these grants in the past?
Councilor Bencomo, no, we have not.
Okay, thank you. I was just curious. And I was briefly looking up the website and your site. Do we have a Las Cruces-based site where you can find all the historic, the currently historic designated buildings?
Councilor, that website is being built, so it's in progress. But one of the things, as we noticed, the Village of Columbus is doing that exact project right now, and they asked for a very modest amount of money to do so, but it's helping promote their heritage tourism and what historic resources they have in town and in the vicinity. So it is something that in our department, we are vitally interested in capturing everything, every facet of our operations as a one-stop shop, and historic preservation is one of the links that's right there on that page.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
it's being built.
Great. No, I actually was asking you that because I saw that one of these sites was applying for funds to do just that, and I wondered if that could be part of one of the projects moving forward, given I think the need and importance of a site like that.
Councilor Bencomo, it's, yes, I agree. And, the bricks and mortar projects are highly visible. Mm-hmm. If you travel south on Water Street, you cannot help but look at the ongoing work at the Amador Hotel. Scaffolding and cement and mortar and mud and water tend to attract people's attention. Mm-hmm. But you also have to build your foundation. You have to have the availability of information in a public format. You have to have the infrastructure built. So one of the advantages of certified local government status is that there is a multitude of ways that a community can improve its preservation efforts on all these different levels, the highly visible projects, as well as the more quotidian approaches to providing public outreach and information. So, we have a lot of latitude to work with.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your thorough presentation.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Anybody else? So you would just need us to bring back a resolution of some sort to move forward with this?
Mayor Miyagishima, we are looking for guidance today from yourself, from the councilors, to proceed if it is your desire. And staff is prepared to assist with the next steps moving forward, if we may.
No, I personally think it's a great idea and appreciate you all bringing it forward. And I just wanted to see if there was anyone of your volunteers out there that wanted to say a couple words. If so, just raise their hand. And
Mayor?
yes, Councilor Flores.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Ainsworth, I think what you're asking for today is for the city to move forward with the application, which would require a letter from our mayor. So, and I don't think we need a resolution. We do have the ordinance in place. And so, do we need a resolution, Attorney Vega Brown, in order to move forward today?
Mayor and Council, as long as your input is received, I do not believe you need a resolution.
Thank you. That's what I thought too. So we can move expeditiously on this if the mayor so agrees, and then you'd take care of the rest. Your department would take care of sending it up to Santa Fe, and then they would review it and send it on to Washington, to the DOI, right?
That is correct, Councilor Flores.
Great.
And yes, that's the procedure right there, and that is what staff is prepared to do beginning today.
Great.
So.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ainsworth. Thank you, Mayor.
Gonna have to start calling her E.F. Hutton. So no, I'm good with it. I'm just, whatever you need the letter from, or whatever direction you all want to compose that'd be fine.
We have Mayor Miyagishima, we have a template that was provided by the state, so staff will move quickly and provide your office with the appropriate documents. And then we'll put together the entire packet, the application packet. Just need the signed letter from your office, sir.
Okay. And any of your volunteers want to say a couple words? If not, we're going to get out of here pretty quick. As quick as we've ever gotten out. I don't know what to do with the rest of the time.
This is Faith Hudson, and I'm a commissioner on the Historic Preservation Commission, and I would just like to say thank you on behalf of everyone, Mayor Miyagishima, for your willingness to sign this. The CLG is very important for the city. Thank you.
Thanks, Faith. Good to see you, and thank you for your commitment. Okay. Well,
Mayor
we'll be
Miyagishima.
waiting for the letter.
Yes, sir. And thank you, everyone, for your time, councilors, city manager. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ainsworth.
So I believe that's it, huh? We're done with the meeting, so if that's the case, then I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved by Flores.
Second, Abeta Stuvey.
Motion made by Councilor Flores, second by Councilor Beta-Stuvey, that we adjourn. Christine?
This is on the motion to adjourn the work session. Councilor Beta-Stuvey?
Yes.
Councilor Vasquez?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Councilor Sorg?
Somebody's got to turn off their mic. Oh, is it on? Okay. Thank you. I say yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Gondeta is absent. Mayor?
Yes. Okay, we are adjourned. It's 1:45 p.m., and we do have the agenda setting meeting immediately following this. Thank you. Okay, this is the agenda setting meeting for our October 18th, 2021 City Council meeting. Item number 1, non-consent.
1, non-consent.
Number 2, non-consent.
2, non-consent.
Number 3, non-consent.
3, non-consent.
And number 4, non-consent.
4, non-consent.
Okay, thank you.
and the lost and found.